Oh, guess who? Just checking the thermometer here. I don't know if you can see that. It's 110 degrees out here. Well, it's down to 100 now. 100 degrees on the thermometer here. Thought I'd do a quick video on the origins of a redneck. Now, a day like today is the reason I wear Under Armour all the time. This is nice and cool. Makes it seem like it's 20 degrees cooler than it is outside. But the origins of being a redneck is not like people claim to be now. You know, if I see a guy and he claims to be a hunter and a fisherman riding a four-wheeler, he's supposed to be a redneck. But a redneck is a derogatory name for a person that worked in the fields back, you know, say 100 years ago, I guess, maybe not even that long, maybe 50 years ago. But used to, when the farmers would go to town after working in the field all day, bending over, doing whatever they're doing to the crops, they get their neck all red from sunburn on the sun, sunburn from the sun. Then they go into town, and all the townspeople would call, oh God, here comes the rednecks, bunch of ignorant ass farmers, you know. But now everybody wants to claim that as something wonderful to be, you know. Everybody wants to be a redneck now, you know. Like everything else, I guess the name changes as it goes along, you know. Nothing stays the same. Anyway, I want to show you something else too while I'm out here. Some of these tobacco plants. The way I used to get a redneck back in the 70s, we used to come out here and have to walk this entire field with tobacco. We call it topping and suckering. You would top this tobacco off, break this off, and then these suckers, they used to use off-you-shoot tea to stop these suckers here. You had to go along and pull every one of these suckers out all the way down. I think offshoot tea got the most of it. It used to be really bad. But we get out here every day before we started harvesting tobacco, what we call putting in tobacco in the South. We tell you, every one of these tops, every one of these leaves had to be checked for suckers all the way down. And that was a tough way to buy school clothes through the summer, but it was a lot of money. I mean, you were so tired when you got through doing this, you didn't feel like going to town. So you just stay home, and by the end of the summer, you would have a pretty good nest egg built up. You wouldn't have to do much work during the winter, which I also had a paper route at the same time. I put in tobacco during the day and run the paper route at night. But anyway, I got a little video I'm going to put in behind this showing some of the older days of putting in tobacco, as they say. Putting it in and barning tobacco, whatever you want to call it now. I think Mexicans are doing it all now, but if you look at this video, I might narrate over the top of it, but if you'll notice, there's a fellow in the video driving a tractor and he's bouncing along down the rows. Well, this was I'm not going to say call his name, but he died in Vietnam. He was one of the first casualties. He was a Green Beret, one of the early ones going over, and he was helping the South Vietnamese, you know, training some of them how to fight, different techniques. But he was one of the first soldiers to actually discover that the Viet Cong would actually change clothes and disguise herself as South Vietnamese, and he was killed by, I think, 8 of them. There was 8. He was supposed to be training 8 Vietnamese, South Vietnamese, and unfortunately for him, there were 8 Viet Cong. So they got the best of him. I think he did kill 4 of them, from what I understand. Everybody else he'd gotten a little far away from everybody else, and they couldn't get to him in time. But he cut one of them's head off with the shovel that he was issued, and the .45. That was all he had with him. But he died right there in Vietnam. Like I said, he was one of the first to discover that the Viet Cong were hard to recognize by sight or identify. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put that video in here if you want to watch some of the old ways of barning tobacco, looping tobacco, harvesting tobacco, and cropping tobacco. So anyway, that's my little story on the redneck history and a little tobacco history. And as always, I'm Tack Bishop. Out here in this 110-degree weather. It's pretty nice too. I kind of like it like this. I don't like the sweat right in my eyes, but what are you going to do? Anyway, Tack Bishop signing out.